I just want to thank everybody for coming out here this evening and showing up, showing support for me, letting me be a part of this. You know, I ran for county commissioner to be a voice for the people, and I will always stand behind that. So if you haven't met me yet, my name is Joe Keegan. I'm the newly elected Garfield County District 1 Commissioner. As a county commissioner, I feel it's part of our job to keep our constituents in the loop and aware of what's going on in and around our county. I'd like to, is there anybody in here that would like to pray this evening? I'd like to start with a prayer and the flag salute.
Take your hats off, please. If you so choose. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you as concerned citizens, and we know you're in charge of this, Lord, and we just ask for your discernment, your grace, help us understand, and Lord, we just ask for your hand to be in this, and like I said, Lord, we know you're in charge, and we just thank everybody for coming. We just ask for safe travels, and please bless this gathering. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Guys, please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't memorize any of this, so I'm going to have to read it and try to keep my spot. I learned about this project through a special meeting at Payne County a couple Mondays ago, and it was inspiring to watch, see how the meeting went, and some of the concerns and questions that were asked. I've never experienced a rolling blackout here in Oklahoma, or at least where I live, which is in Covington, Oklahoma. I personally think that Oklahoma has enough energy to sustain itself without littering up our landscape to supply energy to other states that could put the same Biden, White House green energy agenda junk in their own counties across their own state. Oklahoma is already a net exporter of energy to other states without these lines. This is what I know. There are two proposed high voltage direct current transmission lines that go from the Panhandle to Tulsa. One is part of the NIETC and the other one is a private company. And both of these projects require participation from local governments. I was never aware of any of this because I think the NEPA stuff, they're supposed to do all of that. They're supposed to come to us and make sure that our county and our local people are aware of what they're doing in our counties. Both these projects require participation from local governments, but the corporations have not included the county commissioners in the process. I have not seen any coordination with the Garfield County commissioners. Nobody has come to us, and that's part of what Payne County did. They passed this resolution. Zach Cabot is their District 1 commissioner. He's also their chairman. They passed this right after we went to that meeting on Monday, and this is to make sure that these companies come in here, and the county commissioners are the first ones to be contacted by these big corporations and companies so that we can hold stuff like this for everybody to be out here and learn more about it and say your piece about it, whether you're for it or you're against it. Nobody's going to yell at you up here tonight, and I'll make sure that nobody does. You know, we put in the same stuff, just a little bit different wording here and there for Garfield County. As of 3:30 today, I got where's my agenda item? I got the agenda that the other two county commissioners couldn't be here. We voted on this on Tuesday, and that breaks my heart. I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus, but to me it's real important that all three of us come together and work as a team. I would like to implement the same policy for Garfield County with the help of the other two commissioners. A quote from the paper said it's important we educate others, ourselves, about energy projects, according to Kenneth Corn, U.S. Department of Agriculture, State Director of Rural Development of Oklahoma. I don't know if he's here tonight or not, but I'd love to talk to him. I find it funny, I was never informed, so that leaves us here tonight as we bring the subject, or bring light to the subject and begin to stand together and start to ask questions about what's going on in our county and coming through our communities. My proposed resolution will allow all of us to be informed before big corporations try to take advantage of us and our land. It was my sworn duty to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our county constituents. And that's what I want to do. Now I'll open the meeting to comments and questions, and if you're an elected official, I would like to invite you up to speak. Do we have any more elected officials in the building? One,
Sir.
Two?
Yeah, I'm a new elected county commissioner of Kingfisher County.
Kingfisher County. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. We got Mike Dobrinsky here. He's right back there. Roland Peterson decided to join us, and David Hennessey. Is that right? Thank you guys for coming. You know, we're getting a lot of survey letters in the mail. There's some people that lawsuits are being filed just because they don't want people on their property surveying. That's your right. I wouldn't think that if I wanted to deer hunt, I can't just come over on your property and deer hunt without being punished. I wouldn't want anybody on my property either. Here's another one that says, notice is hereby given. Let me get my glasses, I'm getting old. Will be held on the second day of December 2024 at 11 a.m. p.m. or soon thereafter, as counsel can be heard in the court for an order enjoining the defendant and its respective agents, servants, and employees, and all persons acting in aid or in conjunction with the defendant, and prohibiting defendant from interfering with the agents, employees, contractors, and subcontractors of the plaintiffs from entering onto defendant's property for the purpose of conducting tests, inspections, physical examinations, and surveying on the defendant's property to determine the exact locations and descriptions of the proposed right-of-way easement, all in accordance with plaintiff's petition filed in the above entitled action. And it was dated 7th day of November 2024. That wasn't very long ago. The other funny thing that strikes me is the Enid News and Eagle says Even Energy is holding a meeting tonight, an open meeting. This was our public paper. That lights a fire under me. Because here's one that just come out that says, I and we, the county commissioners, are holding this meeting. To me, that is misleading. I don't mind throwing them under the bus because I haven't ever got a fair shake from them. Other part of this that I've learned, and I've done probably more reading in the last 4 days than I have my entire life through high school. I was going to tell a funny joke this evening. My wife would have been here to support me, but she's at an AA meeting. She's not an alcoholic, and it's not because of me. She's just in class being a nurse. And see, Eve Energy, it says right here, is they've got $306 million in federal financing. Some of that other stuff that I've read, they've got $2 billion worth of investments. It's just like the turnpike. Somebody else is going to benefit off of our land and make money off of us. And we're not even getting half of what they're getting. But just like the windmills and the new solar complexes that are coming to town, Cimarron Link will generate more than 3,600 construction jobs. Boy, that sounds like a lot. But only 20 of those permanent jobs. Only 20 out of 3,600 will be permanent for Garfield County or anywhere else if they decide to do this. You know, one of the questions that I was asked by the Enid News and Eagle when I ran was how I was going to generate tax dollars for our county. Well, 3,600 jobs for 2 or 3 months and only keep 20, it's not worth it. Go ahead.
How many of these jobs are local people, or are they contractors from Minnesota and Texas?
Well, that I don't know yet. I've got to do some more research on that. And you know, I've done some contract jobs like for fertilizer plant, Coke fertilizer. I worked in there for 2 or 3 months as a contractor, and I was local. You don't know how many of these guys are going to come in here that aren't local, but if you're only going to have 20 permanent jobs, you know, that tells me that they're only going to keep 20 people out of 3,600. NextEra told me a couple weeks ago with their plan out here at Breckenridge that there was only going to be 15 full-time jobs left out there. So, you know, things that come upon us are usually too good to be true, and we need to stand together. I mean, I think, you know, I wear this stuff all the time. I love my county. I love my people. I'm ashamed of my government. You know, all they do is try to run over us. But when we stand together and we come together as one people, we can do a lot of great things together. And that means a lot to me. I didn't have to do this. I took a $300 a day cut in pay to do this. I ran a guide service before I did this. I worked for the county for 17 years. And I decided to do this and take a cut pay to fulfill a dream, and really didn't want to get that big into politics. But here I am. I mean, it's go big or go home. I think I might want to run for governor one day. So. Leanne, do you want to say anything before I open this up?
Go ahead. Mike, did you want to speak? Are you going to speak tonight?
I am here as a spectator. I will more than likely speak before tonight. I would really like to hear from the attorney that is aware of the situation here, if Mr. Hennessey is willing to do that, because we all, very few of us know how the process works.
Where did David go?
He's right here.
Oh, do you want to come up?
Nothing like calling you out, is there?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Back there? Good evening. I'm new to this, like most of you. I didn't know a whole lot about this till about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Mr. Bryan contacted me, and Paul Schulte, attorney from Kingfisher, called me and wanted if I would help Mr. Bryan and his family. So I told him that I would be more than glad to do it. So I'm operating tonight with very limited information, probably like the rest of you. Joe, same thing. He, county commissioner, he wasn't notified, hasn't been notified by any of these companies about really what's going on. But be that as it may, I had contacted the Arkansas attorneys who sent out the letters, and maybe some of you got these letters, basically about wanting to go in and do what's called a pre-condemnation survey. And so what they're wanting to do, it's no secret, they apparently have this idea. They want to put this large transmission line clear across the state of Oklahoma. Where it's coming from, where it's going to, hello? Where it's coming from and where it's going to, I don't really know. I don't even know if anybody in this room knows. But they have a path, and they've got some maps maybe of general areas. So the ultimate outcome is yet to be seen. However, in my discussion with this Arkansas attorney, his name was Mark Ramsey, he asked us if we would give them permission to come upon Mr. Bryan's land to do this pre-condemnation survey. And I told him not only no, but hell no. Stay off. We don't want you. We don't need you. Mr. Bryan has some pivots on his property. He has some water, which is awful nice if you can get a pivot and you want to use that to your benefit. Putting these transmission lines, no doubt, across your property is going to just screw that all up. So there's no way we want that on his property. So I explained all that to Mr. Ramsey, and he said he didn't care and that they were going to go ahead and sue him. So they did. So they filed on November 7th a petition for injunctive relief against Mr. Bryan and his family. Now this is all public record, so I'm not telling you something that's confidential. Maybe some of you all have also received a petition. Maybe some of you have also been sued or threatened to be sued. But the point of it is that they've started. And there's a hearing coming up on December 2nd on this petition here in Garfield County that we will be attending to fight this. So I've done some research in the last 10 days I've been involved in this. There is some cases and case law went all the way to Oklahoma Supreme Court that a company, corporation that is licensed and approved for eminent domain, that they have the ability to do a pre-condemnation survey. So I believe legally that they have the right to do that. My point, and I haven't been shown anything yet, would be what is their right to condemn someone's property? In my mind, that's the issue here. Now this case that they cited in their petition dealt with a company that was basically was a rural electric co-op. And so under the law in Oklahoma, in fact it was called the Rural Electric Cooperative Act in 1971, the legislature gave these rural co-ops the right to condemn property for their use and benefit. Now the company that has sued Mr. Bryan is Cimarron Link Transmission. They're not a rural co-op.
Nope.
So there's a little bit of a difference in the cases that they've cited with who the plaintiff is in this case, or these two cases. So they've got to prove to me, and they're going to have to prove to everybody in this room, that they have the right of eminent domain. Whether that come under the federal right, come under some state legislative right. I haven't seen it, they haven't sent it to me. They say in this petition they have the right, but they're going to have to prove it. So that's what this whole thing is about. Do they have the right under eminent domain to come and take your property? And I say take it. They're not actually going to take it away from you, but they're going to use it to their benefit, just like Joe said. They want to use it to make money, which may go to some other corporation, may go to several corporations, may go to some private individuals at our expense, your expense. And that's what we don't want to have happen. Now, we all know, and you guys probably understand a little bit about eminent domain, but under the Constitution, if a company is authorized to do eminent domain, or if the government wants to come in and take your property for eminent domain, they have to pay you what's called just compensation. And you have lots of rights in that process to decide what is just compensation, if they have the right to condemn your property. So we're going to start from the beginning. We're going to fight this from the beginning. You've got to prove it to the court that you've got the right to condemn my client's property before you get to come out and do a pre-condemnation survey. So no doubt that's coming up in a couple of weeks. I will be more than glad to let people know what the outcome is, what the result is from our hearing on December the 2nd. So really right now, that's about all I can tell you guys. That maybe there's more information that will be forthcoming. Again, the company that sued Mr. Bryan is Cimarron Link Transmission Project. Now this handout you guys provided, it talks about NextEra, Heart and Spirit, talked about Invenergy, Cimarron Link. I don't know if those are related to this Cimarron Link transmission. I assume that's Invenergy, but I don't know that for a fact.
Hey, David,
Yes, sir.
if the outcome of this case, is that going to affect every landowner in this project?
It very well could, if it's all under the same company, and if they have the right to condemn your property, it could affect every one of you that they want to cross.
So if they lose, then do the rest of us get by without a lawsuit?
I would believe so.
Okay.
Because the court's going to have to, each court's going to have to look at the other cases, and so if we win in our case, and Judge Woodward says they don't have the right to eminent domain, it should affect everybody else in here that Cimarron Transmission wants to cross. So I've been told that there's a case in Payne County, and maybe a case over in Tulsa, Sapulpa. So we're going to do some investigation about that maybe some people have already objected, and maybe there's already a ruling by the district court. And maybe one of them has already gone up on appeal. So anyway, we'll try to find that out too. Yes, sir.
What gives them standing to sue in the first place?
Well, they're saying they have the standing because they have the right to eminent domain. That's what they have in this petition. It says, as such, Cimarron Link is authorized to exercise the power of eminent domain for the appropriation and use of lands and rights of way necessary for a public purpose by law, and then they cite the statute. So I got a couple questions. Well, is this public purpose, or is this some private company's purpose?
Shouldn't it be thrown out on the very face?
Possible.
It should be thrown far out of court.
Or the next thing is, it says they're authorized to exercise the power. That doesn't necessarily tell me that they already have obtained the right to the power of eminent domain. It just says, well, maybe we're authorized to get the right. So I don't even know if they've done that. So yeah, there's a bunch of questions that still need to be answered. And I would hope between now and December 2nd, we're going to have some answers, ma'am.
Why is it 18 miles wide? No
Well-
other power transmission lines have that much. They may have 100 feet on both sides of the line.
I don't know enough about the project, but my guess is they're grabbing and grasping as much land as they can because they don't know for sure what direction they're going. So they're trying to get as long as they can and as wide as they can to give them some leeway to be able to come whichever direction they want to. Now, obviously sometimes there are geographical limitations on what you can do, whether it be a lake or a river or a creek or something of that nature. So there could be some reason why that they give it a little leeway. Could be again that maybe they don't have enough people that are willing to sign easements that allow them to come across them. So they may need to move 3 miles south or 3 miles north. So that's just a guess, but they're just trying to get enough land to allow them to do what they want.
So when are they supposed to start this pre-condemnation surveys?
Well, according to the Arkansas attorney last week, they want to come out there today.
Like, where are they starting at? I mean, we live in Major County.
Yeah, they're starting in the Panhandle, from what I understand, working their way towards Tulsa.
So do they have to notify us before they come on our land?
Yes, they're supposed to notify you. They cannot just come out there willy-nilly and step on your property. So in our particular case, they sent letters to Mr. Bryan asking him and telling him they want to come out. So if they want to do that with any of your property, they're going to have to give you notice. Hopefully it's going to be in writing. Maybe they show up at your doorstep. I don't know, but they've got to give you some sort of notice because you have to sign. In fact, in this letter, they want you to sign a permission slip which allows them to go out there.
So what if we don't sign it?
Then you're going to get sued. Then you're going to get sued just like Mr. Bryan just got sued. Yeah, so that's what will happen. Has anybody else been sued yet by this company? I guess, Mr. Bryan, I guess you're the number one.
Great.
There are,
He's been communicated with as well.
yes.
So we own the property to the west of David Bryan, and they've been very pushy from the beginning that we have the right to do this. This is going to happen. You need to just sign.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that really has kind of hacked me off in talking to this attorney. I mean, he just basically said that we're going to do it, and I don't care what you guys say, and if you don't like it, we're going to sue you. So they've been very bullish about it too.
There are 2 other families in Garfield County that have been filed on the same day. I just don't know, they must not be here tonight, but we do know that there's 2 other families that have the same case pending.
Okay, Mr. Bryan's land is down on the Kingfisher Garfield County line, so very southwest corner. The Bryan family, his brother here is here too. So, but that's where apparently they started there. Now, whether or not they come east and they work east, or they go over to Major County and start trying to do things in Major County, I don't know. Again, I'm just kind of new to this ball game, and it's a little disturbing what they're doing. Yes, sir.
You think there's a possibility, one of the reasons they're being very pushy is with the Trump administration, and they're getting ready to, I think, declare the whole climate change thing as a hoax, which is what drives the clean energy. You think they're maybe trying to get as much of this done before they might get stopped?
Well, that's certainly good speculation. It's possible.
And then one other thing, without federal subsidies, these things don't happen.
Oh, no.
And that's hopefully with Mr. Musk and Mr. Vivek, that's getting ready to get cut out from under them.
Yeah, it could be that they're trying to speed this thing up to try to get in before they get into office and they make changes with regard to that Clean Energy Act and all the other things that the Biden administration put into place. Yes, sir.
Is this the Rose Law Firm at Little Rock?
Yes. Well, let me take it back. No, it's not. It is. The law firm's name is Taylor, Foster, Mallet, Downs, Ramsey, and Russell. And the guy's name, again, I spoke with was Mark Ramsey. But
Dave, this sounds to me like just the first salvo that could have the opportunity to turn the whole state orange. Is our state legislature, I'm sure they're aware of it, what are, or if that are doing anything about it? Are they in front of it?
Good question. I
Do
mean,
they realize the danger?
yeah, I don't know what these gentlemen over here, Mike or Roland, I don't know if they have been given any information yet about it or not. So, Mike?
Y'all know I have the right, but not the ability to remain silent, and I knew that I would get here sooner or later. In answer to your question, are we in front of it? Hell no. Absolutely not. The only information that we get are when we can direct the companies to forward information, and it's like pulling teeth. And obviously that's by design. That's why they have independent landmen. They're not employees of this company. There's several steps through the process to work through there, and there appears to be 2 of these projects going along simultaneously on a similar route, which is why the corridor is so wide right now, is they will tell you they're trying to find a friendly route through there. And information we received today is they've been working on this over 2 years, and they have approximately 60% of the route sited. Now, I would think maybe both of those numbers might be exaggerated a little bit, but nonetheless, that's the information we have. I've known the Bryan family for a long time, going back 50 years, and they made me aware of this a few months ago, and I knew nothing about it. The Invenergy project is a reincarnation of something that was plotted 6 or 8 years ago and dropped because it had significant resistance. And I apologize, I can't remember the name. Some of you may be familiar with it before.
Plains Eastern.
What was it?
Plains and Eastern.
Plains Eastern?
Yes. Yep.
I don't doubt that, but I've heard more names
I've got a
than
file
that.
that thick with
Cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, these projects, I would also pass along. Representative Pfeiffer intended to be here tonight, and he texted me a little bit ago. He feels very strongly, like I'm assuming many of you in this room, we will probably get some relief with the change in administration. The green, renewable issues that the Biden administration has thrown stupid money at in the last several years are going to come to an end. And we are part of renewable energy is not going to go away. There is a place for it, but not subsidized. Not the only way that they're coming about, obviously, is because of the way that they're funded ahead of time. But with that being said, Oklahoma is a net exporter of energy. Okay, y'all understand that, you get that. We produce more power than we use here. We are part of a 14-state consortium, I will say, that's not the right term, and they're called well, that's the one we're in, Southwest Parapool. There are multiple entities like that throughout the country. And we participate in that, and so when we need things in Oklahoma, we get to pay our portion of that, and so do all the other states. On the flip side, whenever other things happen in other states, we get to pay for a share of that as well. Oklahoma doesn't even get to determine what type of energy we use. The Southwest Parapool decides where they're buying electricity from next week. Okay? And we had an interim study a while back, and I'm not trying to get too far off base here, I just want y'all to understand. We had some interim studies a while back that we illustrated where we're at in generation here in Oklahoma. As we have, yes sir?
Who came up with this?
Southwest Parapool.
And who governs it? Nobody.
They have a board and we sit on it, but they run themselves. They run themselves and they're supervised by the Federal Department of Energy. and that doesn't give any of us a warm and fuzzy feeling. But again, elections have consequences, and things should improve very soon.
Maybe it's time to change it.
Well, it may very well be.
I think it is.
But we're going to look at where generation comes from in Oklahoma and make sure that our state is not missing out on the extra hundreds of millions of dollars that gross production tax would have put in our treasury had we been burning more gas to produce electricity as opposed to wind and solar that don't blow and don't shine all the time. So the bottom line that everybody needs to understand here is regardless of what happens, there is going to be some need for additional transmission in Oklahoma, and nobody wants it in their backyard, and we will certainly fight to make sure that people have a choice. And I'm tickled to death that Mr. Hennessey is involved in this, and any of you that are in the process as well, I would certainly think that you would all benefit by mutually working together and not everybody trying to do their own thing, because it's going to take a group and a concerted effort, obviously, to fight some of this. And with that, I will be quiet. I will listen. I'm tickled to death to hear from anybody and everybody. But I'm going to let the senator speak here. We don't come to you as elected representatives because we have solutions. We're here tonight. You're represented by at least 4 representatives and a senator here, and we're all going to have to work together to make sure that your concerns and ours are addressed, and that we decide what is best for Oklahoma going forward. Yes, sir.
What have you done as congressmen and senators to allow the wind energy and the solar panels that Oklahoma is being inundated with? Okay.
I'm not a congressman. We are state representatives,
right.
And we're not. Nobody here that I'm aware of is federal. But I hosted an interim study last month to make people aware that there are over 100 applications at the Southwest Power Pool to bring additional solar facilities to our state. 100. Solar and battery. And I learned about that this summer whenever I went to a grand opening that the OMPA hosted in southwestern Oklahoma. And when the guy with Southwestern Power Pool said, this is the largest solar complex in the Southwest Power Pool, again, 14 states, a light bulb went off, because I know for a fact the one right out here is going to be larger. And the one proposed between Woodward, Oklahoma and Sharon in my district out there is going to be larger. So between August and October, we went from 80 applications to over 100. So as a state, we have to figure out a way to control and for us to decide what sort of power we're going to use in Oklahoma and what we have an additional need for.
Yes.
So,
but why haven't you done it before now? You know, before you put the cart in front of the horse.
I understand that, sir. And I've served for 4 years. I'm not sure how long he has. You know, we do this along with making sure that healthcare and education and highways and all of these other things are taken care of. I fought really hard to move out of Canadian County, to move into Garfield County, to represent the folks that I have known many of for most of my life and did business with for 35 years. I had no idea this project was going on out here. Nobody clued me in on that, but it's coming and I'm involved with it. I'm not going to run from a fight, but we only learn so much on a daily basis. And when we're kept in the dark, and I am very easy to get a hold of as a Rollin. If you don't have my phone number, see me before tonight so that you have it. But I can't make excuses for what we have not done, What we've learned controls where we're headed here. The Bryans made me aware. I suggested that they contact some legal folks, and they have done that. And so, you know, the fight starts now. Yes, speak up. My name is Mike Prinsky. I was in the car business for 35 years in O'Keene. I stay south of Root and west of Oakwood. So I've got the perimeter here of Garfield County. I've got Kingfisher, Blaine, Dewey, and I stay south of Woodward as well. So anybody that would like my contact information, come see me.
Thank you.
I'm Senator Roland Peterson. I live up near the Kansas border, about 70 miles northwest of here. Burlington's my home. This is my beginning my 9th year in the state legislature, and we face new challenges every time we meet, every year. I mean, every session we have new things that we just have discovered. And since I have been elected, I know this is probably the 3rd transmission line project that has been proposed. And so when they come on and say this is moving forward, I kind of step back and wonder if, how far it's going to get, because most of the time it runs into trouble, just like this one is right now. But from what I understand, there's some other projects that are in the making from the federal side. This one, the Cimarron Link, I've been told, and I just found out details about this in the last 2 or 3 days, that this project, the power will be generated in the Panhandle with various sources of energy, fuel for that, including wind, solar, and natural gas. It's all available out there in the Panhandle, and it will end over around Tulsa, in that area where they need the energy. So all this will be used in Oklahoma, the Cimarron project. This other projects is one of maybe 18, I understand, that may be going across the state, different states, to go from the east to the west. And my phone is ringing in my hearing aid, so I'm losing my train of thought here. I apologize for that. But anyway, I think there's 2 different projects here that were kind of confusing. But the one at the Cimarron Link is a different one. But evidently, you said this goes to, you talked to Arkansas lawyers about this. In fact, I was told from the people from the Cimarron Link that they don't want to be a part of this corridor because that brings on more federal restrictions and will make it more difficult. But I would also tell you that I got the same letter that Mike did, that this project has been dealt with, and it's about 60%. They've got 60% of the people are already signed up from individual landowners, and Cimarron Link wants to continue to do it that way, is negotiate with individual landowners. And there's one thing that I won't do is step in front of private property. So those are your rights that you have, and so I'll fight for that till the end. But anyway, there's probably some more questions. You might need a different battery in this mic or something. So.
Roland, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Oh, wait, Roland, I think he.
Got a question?
Yeah, I have a comment.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I became aware of this a couple of weeks ago before I ever knew about any of this.
Yes, he was reminded.
Was not aware of this transmission line at all. When I first heard about this, a dear friend of mine from Tulsa, who is very well informed, told me that over their prior, Google has been building a new AI center over the past 4+ years, and it's nearing completion. Supposedly, I know there's a coal-fired power plant there, near there, and there's a hydroelectric facility of some kind there that they're trying to get up and going. But this is just my opinion, but that's what's feeding this, because he did say that when that Google AI Center becomes operational, it will consume over 3 times the amount of power the entire city of Tulsa uses. That's what's driving it, I think. It's all out of state, and they're all trying to run so. And it just isn't right.
Hey, Odie, I'm glad you didn't leave me hanging, brother. You got anything to say? No? Well, thanks for coming.
How much does the government and senators know about this?
State or fed?
Everybody. The governor, what does the governor know about it? What does he think about all this? Is he going to fight for us?
The governor's behind it.
Okay.
The governor's behind it.
I don't know how to answer that question.
I can give you a little bit of background about that. Governor Stitt is the one who is inviting the data centers into our state. He wants to be a top 10, all of the above energy state. And so the wind and the solar and the data centers are at his behest, in my opinion. Well, he turns out. He turns out anyway. So, David, did you have anything else while you're up here?
I can't think of anything else. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
Now, they're suing these people, are they suing for monetary damages, or are they just to get on the land?
No, this is strictly a lawsuit to get permission from the court to go onto the property. So this is a preliminary matter. Again, it's petition for injunctive relief. So what they're asking the court is to keep us from allowing them not to come on, or, keep us from stopping them. So then the next phase, if they decide that their property is what they want, and we don't sign, they will then file a condemnation case. And that's the case where you start talking about money, damages. You get 3 disinterested commissioners or appraisers to appraise the property. But again, that all happens after this issue of eminent domain is decided. So the commissioner, the lawsuit for damages is that you have a jury trial.
Is there ever a point where class action should be considered?
I can't hear. What is?
Class action.
I've never seen that happen, since they're talking about individual tracts of land. But the main issue of condemnation, that might be something that could be addressed. But I think once it's addressed with one case, as the question was earlier, it probably resolves it for everybody else. Justin Lemunion is over here. He's a local attorney, lives down in Wacomas. You know anything about this thing kind of being a class action, or if we would have a right to try to form a class action?
I think the question of law as to whether they would have the right of eminent domain could be done as a class action, but there'd be too many individual questions to be a class action if it was going to be anything other than just that one.
Right, because everybody's property is all different, so it would have to be individualized, as far as the actual condemnation case for damages.
Right.
So this is just kind of the beginning. As they mentioned earlier, they may not even continue on the project. Could be this is the preliminary, they started. These people, nothing seems to get done in 6 months. Most of the time it's several years. So it could be that in 6 months maybe they help drop this whole project. I don't know enough about it. And who's behind it, who's supporting it. So that's all information that hopefully we can find out. Anything else?
Who do the letters come from? Is it from Cimarron, or is it from the attorney's office, or what does it look like when it comes in your mailbox?
The letter came from the attorney. It was a letter to them from the law office. So they would let you know they represent Cimarron transmission link. So, yeah, they'd send it to you from the law office. Yes, sir?
I'm not sure when the wind energy first started in Oklahoma, probably 20 years ago. And at first, the state of Oklahoma also subsidized them. And then they realized that we were getting ripped off. So we stopped subsidizing. It's only the federal government now. Why that's so important, our federal government is increasing our national debt by $1 trillion every 100 days. And we're spending more on interest now on our national debt than we spend on defense. None of this is sustainable. It must stop. And to me, that's the very most root way to challenge this. And I think, you know, we've got the senators and our state representatives and governors' phone numbers up here and things. I think that's what we got to call them and tell them, you know, probably the number one most important or number two most important thing that we do, this Congress does, is get control of the gross overspending, which causes the inflation, and get control of this overspending, and we've got to get control, and we've got to start reducing our national debt.
And I agree 110% with what you said, and calling these gentlemen, letting them know what the issue is, I think it's a great idea. Because you're right, I mean, all this money to do these projects are all subsidized by the federal government. So that's the only reason why they're doing it, because they're getting the government money. Private people wouldn't do it. Anything else? You're more than welcome to contact me. Again, David Hennessey, I'm here in Enid. Justin LeMunion's back here, he's here in Enid. Yes, sir?
Now, or will there be any kind of fund or account set up where we can contribute towards the legal fees that are going to be incurred in fighting this?
I'm sorry, but I couldn't quite hear all that.
Is there a fund, or will there be so they can contribute for the fight?
Not aware of anything. I don't think anything's been set up yet because it just kind of started, I guess. That may be something people could address later. Yes, sir?
Question. Isn't eminent domain just another form for communism?
Well, yeah, I suppose in one way, if you look at it, that could be right. They're kind of taking your property. Under our Constitution, if they take it, they're supposed to pay you. In the communist world, I don't think they pay you. So, but it's very similar to that, yes. Anything else?
Yes.
Yes, sir?
There's a few of us in here are old enough to remember who the great fascist was, Benito Mussolini.
Yes, sir.
Any of you remember him? The younger folks won't, the older folks will. What is fascism? By definition, it's the marriage of corporate and state. Yep. Here you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Fascism on its face.
Anything else? All right, so please contact these gentlemen down here, your federal representatives. I think that'd be a great idea. You got Roland and Mike. If you have any questions, contact them. Joe and Clarence, Maley, you know, and again, you're welcome and you're free to call me. Yes, sir?
There are two different ways to get somebody to do something you don't want them to do, or you want them to do. Force and persuasion. I don't see a lot of persuasion going on around here. I'm seeing a whole lot of force. And I don't think we take too kindly to force. So I appreciate, and I may not agree with everything, all your answers, but I appreciate the fact that you guys have the stones to stand up here in front of us and face us eye to eye. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you.
Joe, how can we stay informed? I mean, I know we're using Facebook, a little bit of X, but what's our communications method?
If everybody signed in with their information, you will get an email from Joe's office.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to keep up with that. My wife showed up from her AA meeting. She's thinking I'm wearing black. Thanks, honey. The girls in the office are good about helping me with that. My wife is really good. I guess Payne County has nominated one of the women there. Can you hear me now?
Did it go off?
I think the battery's that light's
There it is. Anyway, the Payne County designated a couple of the girls to send out emails through the sign-up sheets that you guys signed up on. I'm going to nominate the wonderful Leanne over here because she keeps me in line too. She's kind of like my second mom anymore.
I am not that old.
Well, she said she'd kick me in the shin.
I did.
So, you know, my email, if you guys want it, is jkeegan@garfieldok.com. My phone number is always available to anybody that wants to talk to me, in or out of my district. I really don't care. I love to talk. There ain't no lie to that. But I will find out as much as I can about this and try to keep everybody as informed as I can. You know, it's one of those deals that like everybody said, if we band together, we can get all of this stuff stopped. I hate walking out my front door every morning and seeing the flashing red lights. We've got solar panels. I can see them almost from my back door. And they say that your electric bill will go down from this. All of ours has went up $20. Right. You know, and that's kind of.
Is it working?
Can that smoker please move away from the doors?
Well, we can shut it for just a minute. Is it working?
Shut the door.
Yeah, it's working.
Joe.
But I'm available just about any time to take anybody's calls. Please don't hesitate to call or email me, and I'll try to get the best answer, or get you closest to somebody that can give you a better answer than I can. I don't mind doing the side hustle. I'm just built for that. And I appreciate everybody for coming out this evening. My goal is to... Yeah. Oh, you want to say something? No, we don't.
Hi. Hey, is this working at all?
Yeah, it's every now and then that maybe you gotta hit it.
Still.
I think the batteries are good.
Is it working?
Okay.
No,
I'll just try to talk really loud.
I'll try to find you some batteries.
It is working now. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I have had a few experience working with these people, and they, I don't want to say they lie to you, but whenever these people approach you on these contracts, don't sign. I am not a lawyer, but the contracts I've seen have been so bad. Show them to a lawyer. They have a tendency to tell you all your neighbors have done this, and you're going to be the only one if you don't sign on. It's probably not true. They also, I've been threatened multiple times. We're going to do it anyway. We're going to do eminent domain. If they're a private company, from what I know, they cannot do eminent domain. Now, that's the lawsuit we're getting ready to have here, it sounds like. But don't just fold. I know it's scary because you're like, I don't want to have all these legal fees and I don't want to do this. But call a lawyer, get some help. So I just want to make sure, because I know a lot of people, they feel like they have to do it. And they're threats. You don't have to do it.
Go ahead, Doug.
I don't know if that's going to work or not.
See if it's going to work. So they sit on a charger, there's no battery.
Okay.
Test. Thanks. My name is Doug. I'm a geologist, and I had a couple of things I wanted to point out.
Hold it down here.
A couple of things I wanted to point out. One, the whole CO2, this green energy thing, is predicated on a lie.
Absolutely.
And the lie is that, listen to this, plants will die when the carbon dioxide level falls below 150 parts per million. During our last glaciation, CO2 levels dropped to 180 parts per million, 30 parts per million away from unsustainability for plants. Throughout most of Earth's history, CO2 levels have been above 2,000 and life still exists. It's gone as high as about 5,800 parts per million and life still exists. So we're actually coming out of a post-glacial period where we actually need this CO2 level to rise maybe a little bit higher than it is. And if you remember, I got called out on Facebook for this. They shut me down. In 5th grade, you may remember learning that CO2 is good for plants, right? Yep. It's true. Facebook shut me down for posting that because I said most 5th graders know that. I realized the reason they shut me down was not because the part about the CO2 was untrue. The part that's untrue is most 5th graders now do not know that, and it's intentional. There's another thing I want to talk about. In April, I attended a conference in Abilene. There's some amazing technology on the horizon with nuclear energy. There's a lab on the Abilene Christian University campus. They are constructing a molten salt reactor. There was one already built in the 1960s that was tested and proven that it works. And what the great thing about it is, the reactor that they're building there, that their prototype, will occupy about 1/3 of an acre. It's a small nuclear reactor, a molten salt reactor, that occupies 1/3 of an acre, and it will generate the same electricity as 130 square miles of windmills. And so there's no need, if you can move the power to the East Coast where it's needed. You know, 80% of our population in the U.S. lives west of I-35. We don't need to generate electricity here in the plains and ship it there. They can build reactors close to the source, that's close to the point that they're using it, and not need all this transmission through here, and not need all the wind and solar here as well. So, one other thing on the molten salt reactors. You know, all the spent nuclear fuel that's been generated in the U.S. over years and years, they can actually take that. When it's spent, that's not true. What gets spent is the integrity of the rods, the mechanical integrity of the rods. The fuel has only used about 3% of its heat generating capacity. They can recycle spent nuclear fuel in these molten salt reactors. And if you want to find out more, go on Abilene Christian University's website, or Natura, N-A-T-U-R-A, is a private company that's helping back this. It's technology on the horizon that I think is pretty amazing. Thanks.
Dave, one quick question. I don't know if you know the answer to this or not. The easements that are getting, or they're attempting to buy, how long do those easements last?
I haven't seen the contracts. You know, if they're anything like the turbines, you know, they're 40 years, but most transmission lines are perpetual. So which means they're going to be good there forever.
So Oklahoma loses the use of that land forever.
Yes.
And subsequently.
Right. Yeah, so you'd be limited, as a landowner, you'd be limited on your usage of that property. In other words, you couldn't build a house under it, you could still farm over it probably, or farm under it, but you'd be limited on what you could do.
Are there danger studies associated with transmission?
Oh, absolutely, I would imagine so. If you start talking about that high voltage, I think there's a number of things that you'd have to be careful about.
Okay, the lawsuit that you're working with now, Mr. McKee.
Say it again?
The lawsuit that you're working with right now with the Bryans, is that going to be the same entity as the DOE is trying to push out as well with these maps that we're seeing, or is that an individual? Or are we talking about two separate entities?
It's two separate.
Two separate entities. So we just covered one theoretically tonight.
Right, well, I'm going to speak to that during the
Okay.
Did you have a question?
I have a question.
citizen. And I just want to be clear about this corridor. Does that mean they have the right, if eminent domain, they have the right to put up the solar panels, to put up the windmill, differently than what's going on now, where they have to lease the land and pay the landowner huge bucks?
Well, I can tell you with regard to the windmill, they do not, the statute specifically excludes windmills from the right of eminent domain.
Oh, so it's just solar panels you're talking about?
State statute does not allow them to condemn your property for windmills.
Okay, so the transmission lines from the solar panels is what we're talking about in this corridor?
Well, no, transmission line, I'm not sure where the power is coming from. It could be coming from windmills. But I'm saying they don't have the right to condemn your property to put a windmill on your property. Now, they're claiming they have the right to bring the power line from the field over your property to Bixby or Jinx or Tennessee,
Okay, so that
which is
was my
different.
question, because I was totally in the dark about all of this.
Yes, yeah. And, well, we all are. That's why we're here tonight. All right, I'm gonna see if this will work. Or not. Right, sound like this? Okay. Oh, it could be a Bluetooth. Did you have a question?
So we have an author and a co-author in the building. Has either one proposed any legislation to stop or exempt or to add to the windmill clause?
Well, we have spoken to Mr. Dobrinsky about some legislation on windmills and solar farms, solar panel complexes. This is new, and this has not been addressed yet, but he is well aware of the situation. And what is the date for y'all to enter legislation for the upcoming session?
It's January.
January, okay.
January
So they have until January to work on legislation to be introduced for the next session. One of the reasons we wanted to have the county commission meeting tonight is that legislation takes a little bit of time. And if these gentlemen introduce something and it's heard in committee, it may or may not make it out of committee onto the next committee, so that's going to take time. We absolutely are requesting these gentlemen and our other elected officials to write legislation to protect us against wind projects, solar complexes, and the transmission lines. We are absolutely asking that, and every one of you in this room should contact their office and have a conversation about that. But the first thing we're doing is asking our county commissioners to do something about this. Because the county commissioners are our first line of defense, and they have the authority to protect the people inside their county. So what we are asking is our county commissioners to use that authority to protect the people of Garfield County against these interlopers coming into our county and stealing our land. So I will answer just a little bit. So there is a little bit of confusion about these transmission lines, and that's why we have the maps up here, and that's why we gave you the information sheet. Cimarron Link is one transmission line. If you look at the map on the column right there, that's the only map we could actually find from Cimarron Link that's on their website. That's as detailed as it gets. But you can see that it pretty much follows the same path as the Delta Plains over here, right? Cimarron Link is a private corporation coming in. They took over, I believe it was the wind capture project. They bought some of their stuff and then decided, well, I think it, oh no. And so they're working on that. They are receiving federal loans for this project, and they are going from the Panhandle over to the Tulsa area also. In case you didn't know, there is a humongous wind turbine project going in the southeast corner of Garfield County. that includes Kingfisher County, Payne County, and Logan County. And Noble County. It's an enormous wind turbine farm that will be going in. And we don't know if they are building this to link up to that also, because this project does go right by where that enormous wind turbine farm will be. And it includes us in Payne County. That's one of the reasons that Payne County had their meeting. Next time we get 2 microphones like we asked for. What?
I was told, if you're referring to that, I don't know that much about that project, but as far as the Cimarron Link project, they can't add any more. It's got to be out where it started because it's a DC line. It's a direct current line.
Okay.
So, according to the information I got, they can't add anything onto it in between.
Okay, thank you, because we did not know. We did not know that. What we do know is that these are going to be high voltage, direct current transmission lines. They are going to be huge transmission lines, and they take up a lot of footprint on your property. The guy wires go out very far from where they're at, and some of the pictures that I have seen, you will not be able to farm around them. It's what one of the people have said. Did you have a question real quick?
Is there, how much radiation leakage will be coming out of these lines?
We have no idea about the safety. We don't know how far you have to be away from it in a structure that has people in it. We have no idea because they have not come to a meeting to inform the public or our county commissioners or our state representatives. So Cimarron Link is that project. The second project that is going through the same path will be the Delta Plains, and that's the orange line on that one. That one will be going from the Panhandle to Tulsa also. This one is federally mandated so far. It was, the Department of Energy put out a request for transmission projects. So the Department of Energy is not the one who came up with this path. They put out a request for companies to come to them with a proposed pathway. And this is the pathway that was brought to them and was approved. Now, they are in the second phase. No, hold on. Sorry. Okay, so phase 2 started on May 8th, which was an issuance of preliminary list of potential NIETCs, and then on June 24th, 2024, the comment period closed for this preliminary list. So that was published in the Federal Register. How many are subscribed to the Federal Registry so that you get all of the notices of when the comment periods are? Anybody? Okay, see, so they published it in the Federal Registry and said, hey, if you have a problem with this project, go ahead and comment. Well, that period ended on June 24th of this year. So now they're starting phase 3, which is an in-depth NIETC evaluation, which means the designation reports and NEPA draft environmental documents. NEPA is the National Environmental Protection Act. The NEPA studies require local involvement in placing the projects. And that is what one of the other things that we're here to talk about tonight. Because this is information that we have, recently found out. But if you look at the NEPA Act, it states that they are required to work with local, state and local, so they should be coming to your office. Mike, they should be coming to your office, and then they should be speaking to the county commissioners and the public. NEPA Act requires involvement by local authorities, and that is the authority that we are asking our county commissioners to invoke, excuse me, in this process so that they can have a say for the people. And that's the only time we're gonna get a say. Now, the federally funded DOE projects will have eminent domain powers according to their documentation. So that's the difference between the Cimarron Link and the Delta Plains. They are two different going through the same path. And they are, you know, fighting each other. I don't know how, you know, racing to get the more leases. I don't know what they're doing, but you could hear from both of them. And, you know, they might try to get your lease first. So what the other thing that we are trying to do is get a coordination between counties. So Payne County had their meeting recently, 2 Mondays ago. Joe went to that meeting and listened to what the Payne County commissioners had to say and the people had to say. And then he decided, you know what, Dave, that other micro, so this does have batteries. If you take this off, can you see? Thank you. Thank you. And if anybody has any double A's in your pocket, there's another microphone. We'll see if it works. Anyway, so what we would like to see is that the counties come together, the people come together, and everybody stand together and fight this. If we can fight it, what it will take is people not signing leases and people, please don't sign a lease if you live next door to me. People not signing leases and people coming together and attending meetings and contacting your county commissioners and your state representatives and your state senator. That's what it's gonna take. And so that's what we're trying to do. So we've got Payne and Garfield County working together. We have some folks from Major County, we have some folks from Grant County. We need you to go back to your county commissioners and ask them to hold a special meeting and stand with Payne County and, you know, pass that resolution. Yes, sir.
So I'm County Commissioner District 2 in Logan County.
Yay.
And on our meeting on the 27th, I put it on the agenda today to have an expert come and do a presentation on this. And I fully expect to have the resolution that you have that will also be on the agenda. We have a very harmonious group of commissioners. We were one of the first ones to pass a resolution in opposition to Agenda 2030.
Oh, nice.
Some of what you see right here.
Yes, the 30
is
by 30
involved in
and the
that.
30 by 30.
And and also I want to do one against carbon capture pipelines.
Yes.
As I want to do one against carbon capture pipelines, as Doug said. Carbon, CO2, is the elixir of life. Without it, plants don't grow. If they don't grow, we don't have food and we don't have oxygen. So the whole climate change thing is a big fraud. The biggest fraud that's ever attempted to be put upon people that don't remember what they learned in the 5th grade, right? And so, but anyway, we will be doing this, and then I'm going to have another person come sometime in December to do a presentation about the war on farmers and farmers' food. And so, anyway, people are welcome to come that if they want to.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know that date on that second one.
Okay, and what is your name?
Charlie Meadows.
Charlie Meadows. I'm Leanne. We've talked about
Okay.
So Charlie Meadows from Logan County. Did you write that down, Joe?
Yeah, I did.
So if we can get coordination between our county commissioners and the people, we have a chance. And so you know, Charlie, these people are required to come to you for input on these projects.
So I'm just
I was telling this lady that came up here with me tonight, I'm not for sure that we have the authority as commissioners to stop it. If we do, we will.
Right.
I mean, I can't
Logan
say-
County will.
I can't say for sure how the others do, but I know them well, and I think we will. I've got to find out whether we really have the authority to shut this down.
Right.
You don't need it. But look at everybody here.
That's right.
Everybody right here can shut it down in a heartbeat.
But even just having input and say, and like, you know, hey, let's not put it there because we're gonna displace 30 people's homes if you put it there. I mean, that's what we need is input.
So it's my understanding Payne County already passed a resolution?
Yes.
Yeah.
When is it on the docket for the agenda for Garfield County to do the same?
I talked to Zach Cabot this last week at the ACO conference for about 2 hours. And he told me it's already on there.
Well, no, Payne County gets best. He's asking about you.
Oh, us?
He's asking
No, I'm working with the other 2 county commissioners right now. I sent this to Tommy today, Tommy Humphreys, our DA. I sent it to Ben Bowers this morning to go over. Odie's got a copy, Reese has got a copy. I'm pushing this, and I need their help to pass it.
I've got a copy of that. It will be at our county commissioners meeting in Kingfisher Monday.
That's awesome.
It's on your agenda.
I plan on putting it on there as soon as I hear from our DA, and if it can be on Monday, or if I can put it on there tomorrow for next Monday's meeting, I'm going to, because it means that much to me.
Another thing I was thinking about here, I see you look around here, I see a lot of orange, I see a lot of camo. We've all hunted, we've all fished. This isn't just going to affect us. This will affect, I've looked up this Cimarron Act, 15 wildlife, 7 birds, which includes bald eagles, golden eagles. The whooping crane doesn't see it. The noise generated off of this right here keeps deer away. It keeps coyotes away. It's going to be a predatory factor in everything. This line going through will destroy our hunting and our fishing in Oklahoma, in this area.
Agreed.
So not only do we need to get you guys, talk to your game wardens, talk to your commissions, get to OSU conservatories. Anybody that can do anything to push conservation, that is another person. And we don't need to conserve each other. We need to conserve our wildlife. And that is a big thing I think we need to look into also.
It is.
That's okay.
We'll see if it works.
You know, Leanne, you've been working to fight the Nextera project.
Yes.
And if you go down to 30th Street between Pioneer Road, there's a dirt road.
I know.
I'm asking Joe.
Yes,
sir. Okay, Joe, did the county commissioners have to sign off to allow Nextera on the county roads?
We have a road use agreement.
I know, yeah, I see these signs everywhere. So in other words, you're kind of improving this project by letting them use your roads.
No. The thing is if you don't do it like a road use agreement, I can tell you right now, I had $445,000 come into my account from Nextera. But it is a public road. So I will sign every road use agreement I can just because it is a public road, and I'm not going to have my taxpayers fit the bill for something that they've messed up. They're paying to use those roads, and nobody else does. Just like the oil field. Them guys can come in here, they can tear your roads up. You could push them to pay for that because they did the damage to your road. But if you don't have the road use agreement, you guys are fitting the bill for it. And over my dead body, will any of my taxpayers ever fit the bill?
But if you don't have the road agreement with Nextera, they can't get on the property.
No, they can use the road anytime they want. It's a public access road.
Okay.
So
You have no control over that.
That's right. We do not. But if you can make them pay for all the damages that they've caused to that road, you get it better, you know, you get it as good, if not better, than it was before they've left. And the road use agreement is a great deal for the counties. You know, I don't know how much more money coming in that we can do several different projects for, and we get that money to upkeep the roads to the same condition that they left them, if not better. So the money just sits in there until we decide to dish it out for some other project. And, you know, the road use agreement is great for the county.
So I have a question. David, there. So David, would it be beneficial if we had no trespassing signs on our properties? Would that help in any way with the surveys?
No, I mean, they still ask permission, and if you don't give it to them,
They still ask for permission through the letter. If you don't give it to them, then they just go ahead and file the lawsuit. So the lawsuit's going to trump any no trespassing sign.
But they still have to go through the motion, and that's time consuming.
Right, slowing them down would always be beneficial. Okay, who's got a question? Anybody have a question for Joe?
We've got several counties that are here tonight that we're talking about. Have we reached out to counties on either side of that?
Have we reached out to other counties like Woodward County, where this is coming through? It helps us if they're in on this too, instead of letting them build right up to our edge of our counties and we're the ones to stop them. That's going to make it harder to get it to stop.
Is anybody from Alfalfa County here tonight?
Yeah, Woodward County is aware of it. And Robbie's from Major County. So we have reached out to people in those counties and asked them to contact their county commissioners and ask them to have a special meeting and ask them to put the resolution on their agendas. But we will continue to do so. So we have Kingfisher is here, Logan is here, Payne County has already done that. We need Major County, we need Cimarron County, we need everything. I think Dewey and Blaine.
And I talked to the Alfalfa County, I think the District 2 Alfalfa County Commissioner, and he said he was going to get with his other two guys because he was on his way out of town. So, and I'm going to keep calling people. If I've got to show up to meetings, speak, say what I need to say to get everybody on board, that's the only way we're going to get together and really do any good, is just by banding together. I can't express that enough, that tonight has blew my mind at how many of you guys showed up here for this. And I'm glad that I've got to be a part of it.
Thank you. All right, any other? Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Do we need to call the other county commissioners?
Yes.
To get them on board, and if so?
Yep, everybody should be contacting their county commissioners. The phone numbers for them are in the back.
And show up at your meeting when you vote on it.
Yes.
People need
Show up.
to absolutely flood that room when you vote on that.
I know, right? We have a small, but we do need everybody to show up when these agenda items are on the agenda, and we need you to show up at the special meetings so that these corporations know that people are paying attention. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
I've been trying to follow the agenda. It seems inconsistent when they are posted. So when are they really to be posted?
Okay, so if you call your county courthouse and talk to the county clerk, you can ask to be put on the distribution list for your agendas. And they will email you every time there is an agenda for your county commissioners. Ours goes out on Thursday afternoon most of the time, and the meetings are Monday at 9 a.m. So it just depends on when they send them. They have to send them at least 24 hours prior, but you can call your county clerk and get on that distribution list, and you will receive an email with every agenda that is posted. I think so.
Okay, just got some closing stuff. My goal was to gather as much information as possible to share with you and hear from you about your concerns and questions. I'm doing my best to find answers. I may not have all the answers for you tonight, but I've written every one of your questions down. No, I haven't. So you need to email me or call me.
We wrote them down.
Anyway, this is just the first meeting about this. We will have to continue to hold more meetings and kind of just be able to keep everybody updated. I do plan to reach out to NextEra and Ivan Energy, the representatives, to have them attend a meeting at the county commissioners so that they can share everything that they know in a public meeting. I will not meet with them behind closed doors for those kind of meetings. I will require them to share the information in an open meeting so everybody there that wants to attend those meetings can come and learn about that. I also do plan to reinstate public comments in our county commission meetings. So that way you guys can have your say in the agenda stuff. You know, sometimes in a commissioner meeting, you get somebody just shows up, they want to eat on your butt. You can do that over the telephone. I ran and was elected to represent the people. This was my promise to my voters, and it means a heck of a lot to me. If you haven't filled out the sign-in sheet at the front door, be sure to do that. My office will be emailing updates as they come in. Thank you once again for coming this evening, and I hope everybody has a great drive home.